Hey guys, it's Damak here and welcome back to episode 13 of my Caterham My Team Career Mode here on F1 26. If you haven't seen the previous few episodes, I would highly recommend you go back and watch them. The last 3 races have been amazing. But last time out in Belgium, Roman Stanek managed to bring home another point. It was a hard fought one. I didn't think I was going to get points when we qualified in 23rd position, but a drive through the field and a perfectly timed safety car leapfrogged us into the points where we were battling both Red Bulls, Hamilton, Albon and Bortoleto. We had older tyres, but we managed to hang on for 10th position, and it's another point for the tally. We closed into Alpine by 1 point. We've still got 7 to go though here for the Hungaroring today. We've got no new upgrades, unfortunately. They're not coming in until Zandvoort. Our personnel facility has been upgraded to phase 2, where corporate and engineering are just on the end of phase 1. So once the next upgrades are done, they will be into phase 2 and we can hire more people and develop more than one upgrade at a time. We also introduced a brand new livery in Belgium, and what a debut it had. What a race it was at the end. We've had a good summer break, chilled out, and we're ready to go here for the Hungaroring. This track might suit us a bit better. Obviously the Audi engine isn't that good on the straights compared to the others, apart from Honda. Obviously they are the worst engine by far, but the Hungaroring might suit us very well. Let's see how we get on. Let's head into the race weekend, do the practice programs and then get ready for qualifying. Full resource points gained from this practice session with the race strategy track, acclimatization and the tyre management. We're also going to put a new ICE and control electronics in Kian's car. It is very much needed. 66% on the ICE isn't really good enough. We could possibly get away with going to the 51% because we don't really need engine power here that much compared to other tracks anyway. We're going to drop down to the first ICE that Kian had on 51% and just deal with it this weekend. It shouldn't be too bad. It should be good enough anyway. Better than the one we had in. But enough chit chat. It's time for qualifying here in Budapest. How will Kian Shields get on? He's got good momentum. He qualified well in Belgium even when we weren't driving as him. And in Silverstone, he had such a great race. So hopefully we can have a good time. Let's head into qualifying.
No pit stops, no strategy. It's all about the pace today. Qualifying day here at the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Coming round turn 14 to set our first lap in Q1. Try not to extend track limits as we cross the line. And we have beaten Stroll and Stanek for the 117.6. It's an okay lap, but we can obviously do better. I don't think that's going to be anywhere near the cutoff to get through to Q2. Starting our final lap of this Q1 session, we're currently sitting P20 and Kian Shields wants better than that. He got 19th in Belgium. What can he do on his final lap? Hitting the brakes at a 100-meter board. Hajar is in front of us. Hopefully gives us a little bit of slipstream and not too much dirty air, but I think it is going to be the other way around, the way that we don't want. Down towards turn 2, Hamilton corner. All corners have been renamed for the 2026 season. We're about half a tenth up on our lap, but we do miss the apex to turn 3. We need to absolutely send it through Mansell corner. Turn 4, we've hit the curb on the inside. Somehow keep it within track limits. That was very, very close. Through turn 5 now. I'm not going to try and pronounce that corner name. That's going to take me all lap to try and get it right. Through the drive-in centre chicane. Turn 6 and 7, clonking the curb on the inside. Now my favourite names on the circuit, Buda and Pest. Turns 8 and 9 as we get it a bit wrong there on the curb, but hopefully through Danube and now a Lacey corner we can get it a bit better. No, we're on the curb again. We're still a tenth and a half up. We do need about 4 tenths now through Schumacher corner. What can we muster up through the last 2 corners? It's not going to be enough, I don't think, as Kian Shields. We get a snap of the back end wanting to come out. There we go. We've cooked the tyres already. I don't think this lap is going to be any better than our first one. As we come through the final corner, I've absolutely bottled it. Yes, I have. We're in the red. And that's unfortunate. That's not a better lap from us. Oh, that's a shame. That's a real shame. We're going to lose positions now. We're down to 21st. I think 2 Aston Martins and their teammate need to come through. We're down to 22nd. This is not looking too good. Well, I think I got a bit ahead of myself there on that qualifying lap. The last 3 corners were absolutely horrendous. 22nd then for Kian Shields. We out-qualify our teammate and Lance Stroll. Behrman, Ocon, Lindblad and Bortoleto join us out in Q1. And let's hope that this race is like Belgium. There's not as many places to try and overtake, but we'll see what we can do. Kian Shields, a masterclass, just like Japan maybe, where we came from 24th to 10th. We'll have to find out. Let's head in to the Hungarian Grand Prix and see what Kian Shields has in store.
Welcome to Budapest once again for another round of Formula One action. Historically, a good race for first-time victories, with Button, Hill, Alonso and Heikki Kovalainen all reaching the top step of the podium for the very first time right here. 14 corners then for our drivers to navigate at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring today. It's 6 lefts and 8 rights around a lap here, with average speeds in the region of 120 miles per hour. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Piastri, Verstappen, George Russell and Antonelli, Hamilton, Hadjar, Sainz and Alex Albon, Gasly, Colapinto, Liam Lawson and Hülkenberg, Alonso, Perez, Valtteri Bottas and Ollie Bearman, Ocon, Lindblad, Bortoleto, Shields, Stroll and Roman Stanek rounds off the grid.
Well, the championship contenders are on the front row of Leclerc and Norris, but in our race, we're going to go to lap 16 on the mediums and then the final 19 laps on the hards. I think that's a good strategy. There is a 20% chance of rain, but it doesn't look like it's going to be appearing today, thankfully. The two-stop does look nice, but there's 10 seconds there, and we're starting at the very back, so we might as well go for the quicker strategy, see how the race pans out, and maybe we'll have to gamble. Cian Shields starting 22nd, Roman Stanek directly behind us on the grid. He's in 24th. Medium tyres are the choice for everyone around us except from the two Cadillacs, but they are a bit further up the road. I was a lot more confident heading into qualifying than I am right now, but we did start near the back in Belgium and look how that ended up. I'm not going to promise points today, but it would be very nice. As always, we are going to angle ourselves in between the two cars in front, Lindblad and Bortoleto. And the lights are on for round 13 of the season here in Budapest. And it's a lights out and away we go in Hungary. It's a good start, I'd say, from ourselves. Stroll or Stanek aren't battling us, but we're going to battle Bortoleto in towards turn 1. We used a lot of boost, but we'll gain it back straight away. We've got Stroll going up our inside, of reminiscent of 2021 there from Stroll, but he didn't collide with anyone this time as we get a nice cutback on Bearman and Lindblad. But we can't really go to the inside there to try and secure it. We're still 3 wide into Hamilton corner. We're going to stick it around the outside, see where we end up. Bearman coming awfully close to making contact with us. He's still on the outside, but we are going to try and shrug him off up the hill towards Mansell. He's still there as Lindblad. I didn't expect them to all check up there at turn 4. We nearly hit the back of Lindblad, but thankfully not. Thankfully we've not made contact with an RB for I don't know how many times this season as Lindblad goes up the inside of Stroll. They're side by side. Can we take advantage of this? I don't think so. Look, it's just like Monaco without the walls. It's just so close here. It's so tight of a track. We weren't able to take advantage, but it's a good start. We've gained 1 position. Let's try and gain more as the race goes by. We do need to save the tyres a lot though. This track is going to be heavy on the tyres. Two-stop might come into play if the tyre wear is that bad. But for now, Stroll's had a mega start as well. Bearman, the big loser on this lap. There's probably going to be a few trains forming here because it's very difficult to overtake. We'll do our best though. Cian Shields is eager to get points once again. He's only scored 4 this season. Stanek scored 16, so Shields feels a bit left out. He wants his seat for next season as well. Stroll is starting to fall off the back of Lindblad here, so we do need to get past the Canadian as soon as possible, as on lap 3 of the race. Not much has happened since the first one. I think we're in a Hadjar train at the moment. There's a big, massive train there, as you can see on the mini-map. But coming through turn 14, we need a good exit. We need to get past Stroll as soon as possible. I don't think he's got overtake mode on Lindblad in front as we go to the inside of the Canadian and up to P20. Nicely done from Cian Shields. As Stroll tries it up the inside again, he showed the nose. We're a bit sideways on exit, trying to get the power down, but we do stay ahead of the Aston Martin. Bearman has gone past him as well. Now down into turn 2, Hamilton. It's all calmed down a little bit more, but lap 4 of the Grand Prix, we've got 1.4 second gap to Lindblad in front, and we need to use these tyres, a bit of these tyres, to catch up anyway. We want overtake mode for the next few laps, and we want to get on the back of this train again as Stroll was starting to fall off there. We're right behind Lindblad, but there's just the opportunity hasn't come up yet to overtake him. But for now, we're sitting in P20, and hopefully once the strategy comes into play, that's when the race will get a bit more exciting. Maybe the 2-stop might work out if we pit earlier, because I feel like whoever pits first is going to be a real winner out of all this group. We're in a Fernando Alonso train at the minute. Whoa, what's happened? What's happened? Someone's spun. It's Colapinto's safety car out, as we're going to have to go through somebody there. There's a red flag. Our first red flag of the season. Have we made up so many positions there? I think we've just made up a few positions there. I don't know if it's going to tell me where we are, but I just said whoever pits first is going to win because they're going to get the undercut. I guess not. So Colapinto spun at the driving centre chicane and then got himself beached. We went up from 20th to 15th there, so it's all worked out very well for us. But look here, Colapinto reverses a bit and then beaches himself. He just can't go anywhere. The red flag came out. You can see us going past there. But happy days. We've gained a few positions. Our first red flag of the season, then we're going to start on the mediums from this restart because we'll just keep the strategy as it is. I was thinking of changing it, but I guess not. Everyone's going to do the same thing at the moment. So let's go with this strategy and let's restart the race. I think it's going to throw me straight in, and it is. The lights are on here. We've got 4 or 5 red lights here. We're starting in P15 and the lights are out for the restarted Hungarian Grand Prix. That caught me off guard how quickly it happened. But we're here on lap 11 and we've lost 2 positions already. We've got Lindblad and Behrman going around our outside. Oh, that's Perez actually. I thought that was a Haas on my inside. We've gone up the inside of Alonso. Hulkenberg's got a 10-second penalty for some reason. Everything's happened so quickly. I didn't quite prepare myself for that. I didn't know how the restart was going to happen, if we had to do another formation lap or not. But we're up the inside of Colapinto. He's on the outside of us. Can we swoop around the outside of the Alpine? No, we can't. But looking there on the top left, everyone seems to have started on different tyres. We're on the mediums, Colapinto's on the softs, Bortoletto's on the soft, Perez on the mediums. So I'm not quite sure. I don't think we would have made it to the end of the race if we went on the hards. But we stay in 15th position. We did gain a few positions when the red flag came out. We did jump them. We did go through somebody as well. Not very realistic, but it is what it is as a chaotic restart here in Hungary. And I just didn't quite prepare myself for that, so sorry if the commentary wasn't up to scratch as we come through Alesi, turn 11, behind Colapinto. He's next up for us. And thankfully we're out of that train that we were in that Fernando Alonso was leading, and we don't have to worry about him. Hopefully not for the rest of the Grand Prix. Lap 13, we're still in 15th position behind the Alpine. We've got Hulkenberg behind us. He has a 10-second penalty. We don't really need to worry about him because of that. But we don't want to let him through either because he'll just make us lose time. But heading into Hamilton turn 2, Perez is holding up Colapinto. Hopefully he doesn't lose track of the cars in front of this little train. But it's looking good so far, and the race is a bit more entertaining than it was on lap 9 anyway, before we got to this point of the circuit. Colapinto and Perez are side by side in towards turn 1. Let's try and take advantage of this situation as the Argentine goes side by side still with the Mexican in towards turn 2. Hamilton, they both Lyco a little bit. Perez is on the outside. He will have the inside for turn 3. And they're still side by side. Can we take advantage of this? Yes, we can. We've got a perfect boost through there. But we are going to be on the outside for Mansell. And we're past Colapinto. We stayed behind Perez and luckily stayed within track limits. And we didn't touch the Cadillac. So it was all go there at turn 4. Or turn 3 to turn 4. But we are up a position as we do lock the brakes into the driving centre chicane. We're up to P14. Colapinto will want that position back. He was looking to gain 13th, but instead he's down to 15th. It's all nice and dandy here for Keane Shields, but Perez has lost touch to Gasly in 12th. So for now, our battle is for 13th position as we nearly lost it through Alesi. Managed to save it though. We're just over halfway in this Grand Prix, lap 18 of 35. Hulkenberg has gotten past Colapinto behind. His softs are obviously falling off the cliff. Perez is still our target in front as he's starting to get a bit loose on every single corner. His mediums are starting to go off and hopefully we can take advantage of that. We shoot, whoa, as we're a bit loose as well. I didn't expect that. That was perfect timing. We're always so close to Perez through turn 12 here, Schumacher, but through 13 of Senna and 14 of Ziz, we're just not close enough to the Cadillac. We're going to box opposite Perez this lap. If he pits, we're going to stay out. What does the Cadillac do? He pits. And I think Hulkenberg's come in as well on his hards. They were starting to get really quick, the Audi there on the hards, but they've decided to come into the pit lane. I think there's a lot in the pit lane here, but we're going to stay out another lap. before we switch to the hard tyres, and we're going to be running in P5 as Leclerc comes out the pit lane on the inside. We've got to leave a bit of room for him. Thanks very much, Mark. Stop talking, please. We're side by side with Charles Leclerc, but he's got the fresher tyres, but we've got the inside line to turn 2 of Hamilton, and Keen Shields is in the top 5 for now, but not for long, as Leclerc is going to get past him as soon as possible, as we're awfully squirrely through turn 3. That's through Mansell. No, we've gone a bit wide. We didn't get a warning though, thankfully. But I think we're going to be undercut by Hülkenberg. We've just got to try and get it back on track. Maybe staying out is the bad idea. As Leclerc goes up the inside of driving centre chicane. He does give us a little tap, and this is probably the wrong decision from us to stay out. I know the undercut is probably a bit more powerful, but I just wanted to give myself something different to Sergio Perez, and that hasn't worked out as Charles Leclerc is battling with us on this lap. We're going to box this lap, and hopefully the team can still service us quite quickly, as into Schumacher we're awfully slidey. These tyres starting to go off, but we have made a little train. I wonder where we're going to be when Perez, Hülkenberg and Colapinto go by as we come into the pit lane here at the end of lap 23. We don't want to do a David Coulthard and crash into the pit wall. As where's the line? Are we going to get under the speed limit? Yes, we are, as we're in for the hard tyres here. Pitting from P5. We're obviously going to come out probably around P15. I'm not quite sure where Perez and Hülkenberg are as we're into the box. Please give me a quick stop. Quick stop, please. 2.4 seconds again. Colapinto and Gasly are through. Bottas is in the pits with us. There is Perez. Where is Nico Hülkenberg? I'm not quite sure. Oh, he had to take his penalty, didn't he, Nico Hülkenberg? So we don't need to worry about Hülkenberg, but we do need to worry about Bortoleto. He's right behind us, but we've come out the pits in 15th position, and we've still got Sergio Perez in front of us, and he has built a 2.4 second gap. So staying out was a wrong call. Battling Charles Leclerc was a wrong call as well. And let's try and catch up to Perez. Colapinto did well with that undercut. He's ahead of Gasly as well. He's up in P12. But for now, we just got to focus on what's in front of us, and that is Sergio Perez. We're going to try and break away from Bortoleto. Oh, there's been a spinner. Perez has spun, and look at that. That's easy enough. We're up to P14. Oh well. Next up is Gasly. We've got to focus on catching up to Gasly 5 seconds up the road if we can do it. But that was very easy. Sergio Perez just gave that to us on a plate. And thank you very much for that, Perez. Thank you so much. Wow. Gasly has passed Colapinto, but I'm not quite sure what's happened, because the gap was 5.4 seconds and 1 lap later it's down to 4.1. So either we are flying on these brand new hard tyres, or Colapinto has an issue, but I'm not complaining. We have opened the gap up quite a lot to Bortoleto behind. I think he's been battling Lindblad though. We are out of battery. I'm surprised we're out of battery on this track, but we're catching up to Colapinto hand over fist. We do have quite a few laps tyre advantage over the Alpine. I'm not quite sure when he came in, but he was on the soft, so he would have picked quite early. So we've got 10 laps to catch up to him and overtake, and then set our sights on Gasly maybe. Could we sneak into the points? I doubt it at this point, but never say never. There could still be a safety car or another red flag. We've just got to keep our fingers crossed. So we're about 1.5 seconds quicker than Colapinto each lap, so we might be onto him by the end of this one. We've built out a considerable gap to Bortoleto and Lindblad behind. The gap to Gasly has increased, so I don't think we're going to catch him. But in clear air, we are much quicker than the cars around us, or much quicker than the cars behind us. And just like I said at the start of this lap, we're right on the back of Colapinto, and we are going to get overtake mode heading on to lap 29 of this Grand Prix. We do keep a tight line on the final corner. Are we going to get a run down towards turn 1? I don't think we will this lap on the Argentine, but it's looking promising. We've got loads of laps to go, and he's obviously struggling or got a problem. I'm not quite sure if he's missing an end plate or something, because he's much slower than his teammate, and his tyres aren't even that old. As we come through turn 9 Pest and into turn 10 and 11, we're right on the back of the Alpine. He must be missing an end plate. He must have had contact with Gasly earlier in the Grand Prix. As he goes defensive into turn 12, we're going to have to go around the outside. I probably would have wanted to stay on behind him and get overtake mode, but we're ahead, and I don't think he's going to get back past us. He's evidently struggling, and we're up to P13. It's only been a lap since we overtook Colapinto, and he's already 1.4 seconds back. Gasly is 5 seconds up the road. We have gained 0.5 second on this lap. Can we possibly get him by the end of the race? I doubt it. We need a second a lap on the Frenchman, but we'll give it a go anyway. We've got nothing to lose. We've already gained 9 positions in this Grand Prix, so far it's been a success. Even if we don't get points, I'm very happy with this performance, albeit it's been a bit boring, but we'll see what we can do for the final 5 laps. As we start the penultimate lap here in Hungary, the gap is 2.8 seconds, as Mark says as well. We've caught up a lot to Gasly and Lawson, but it's just not going to be enough. It's too little, too late. We've only caught up by a couple tenths to Gasly on this lap, but can I just say an honourable mention to our pace over Lundblad and Bortoleto. They were battling right behind us as we came out the pit lane. There's a 14-second gap to Lundblad and a 6.3-second gap to Colapinto behind us, so we definitely do have pace. It's just unfortunately we were stuck in the trains at the start of the race. If we had a better qualifying, it's a what could have been, but if as we start the final lap of the Grand Prix, we're just going to take it home. And unfortunately no points for us today unless something major happens in front, and unfortunately it won't be 4 races in a row with points. We've kept it at 3 with Austria, Britain and Belgium coming through turn 12 for the final time in this Grand Prix. The gap is under 2 seconds to Gasly in front. Obviously we're not going to get him, but Charles Leclerc has won the race. I think Lando Norris must have come home second, so he's not caught up much in the championship battle. But Cian Shields rounds the final corner, turn 14, for a 13th place finish here in Hungary. It's not been the race we wanted. It's not been as entertaining as the previous 3 have, but we've come home in a respectable position. We gained 9 places. Unfortunately, we needed 3 more, and we got driver of the day as well, Cian Shields. That's something else to be happy about, but unfortunately no points today. Oh, it was Piastri in second. Never mind. Charles Leclerc has caught up quite a bit then to Lando Norris in the championship as Max Verstappen comes home 3rd. Well, it wasn't the top 2 that I expected as Lando Norris comes home 4th. Hamilton, Russell, Antonelli, Albon, Hadjar and Sainz round off the points. Lawson and Gasly were battling hard in front of us. If we had a few more laps, we might have been able to catch up. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be for Cian Shields today, and it's 13th position. We pulled out nearly a 7-second gap to Colapinto though, and 14 seconds over Lundblad. Bortoleto fell towards the end of the Grand Prix. Roman Stanek came home at 22nd position. He was very slow today. It's unfortunate for him after such a good result last time out, as both Haas cars round off the grid with Ocon, the only one to be lapped. Lando Norris obviously keeps the lead in the driver's standings, but the gap is a bit lower now thanks to Charles Leclerc gaining 13 points on the Brit. Piastri jumps Russell for 3rd position, but our 2 boys, Stanek and Shields, still sit 12th and 14th in the standings. No new point scorers today, as in the Constructors, McLaren's lead is 134 points. They still extended their gap today ahead of Ferrari and Mercedes. Williams got 5 more points today, but the gap to our rivals Alpine stays at 7 points. It's going to be a very interesting second half to this season. Now, I have to say I'm very sorry that this race didn't live up to the expectations that were set by the Austrian, British and Belgian Grand Prix, but I still hope you did enjoy. We still had a good run today, as you've seen by our pace in the final stint. We were much quicker than everyone else around us. We were catching up a lot to Gasly and Lawson. We caught and overtook Colapinto, then gapped him by 6 seconds, and we built a massive gap to Bortoleto and Lundblad, and they were right behind us when we exited the pit lane. It was a bit cheeky of me when Colapinto spun to gain 5 positions the way I did, but hey, you've got to take what you can get. It's time for the in-game summer break, but next up is a sprint race weekend at Zandvoort. I'm very much looking forward to it, a very fun track, and I'm just hoping the car can deliver. If you did enjoy this episode, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of it. Any feedback is muchly appreciated. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time in Zandvoort.